Ambazonian land, Ambazonian territory. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the broadcast. I am so sorry for the late show. Unfortunately, sometimes this happen, and there is just nothing we can do about it. We cannot control it. But I'm so excited you are all tuned in to be part of this broadcast. Please go ahead and let's get the platform populated as quickly as possible so that I can come to you with the presentation. I want to believe that all of you on ground zero in the USA, in Europe, in the UK, in South America, everywhere across the globe, you all had a wonderful weekend. We are coming here at the beginning of the week to update you and educate you with what is going on in the Ambazonian struggle. Again, good evening to all of you watching by way of satellite television from Africa, and all of you in Europe, in the USA, in South America, in Canada, everywhere you are, even in China. Thank you for joining the broadcast. And again, if you are watching by way of Facebook, please go ahead, hit your share button, and let us quickly populate this platform. Today, we got so much to talk about, and I'm coming to you today with a very, very powerful panel. And we are going to be discussing the so-called Ambazonia Biafra Alliance. But before we get there, I make sure I bring you my monologue now. This is my personal opinion, not the opinion of the interim government. Of course, it reflects the opinion of the interim government, the position of the interim government, but this is largely mine, and I do so once in a while. But again, it reflects what the interim government stands for, the interim government of Ambazonia. Please go ahead and quickly hit your share button to every social media platform out there, to WhatsApp groups, to Instagram, to Facebook groups, and Telegram, and so on and so forth. Please let us quickly populate this platform as I bring you very, very vital information about our struggle. Now, before I get started, I like to remind all of you, ladies and gentlemen, especially on ground zero, that right now you are very much able to receive ABC. It is much more easier right now to receive ABC. To watch ABC on ground zero is very easy, very, very easy. If you already have a free-to-air decoder, and you have been connected to free-to-air channels such as My Prime Media, Equinox, or CRTV, if you are already connected to any of these channels, My Media Prime, Equinox, CRTV, and others, then just retune. All you need to do to receive ABC is to retune, or they call it blind scan your satellite receiver. At the end of the search, you will have ABC, Amba TV together with all of Cameroon's news channels on the same die. But if you do not already have a free-to-air decoder, all you need to do is to buy one, get a satellite installer to install and install the channel for you. Please follow the crawler on your screen and get details of this information. I would like to hear from you on ground zero. We've already received lots of information. People are now able to access ABC easily. So please spread the information for those of you watching from ground zero. This is very, very important. Now I'd like to take this announcement also, ladies and Gentlemen, they drive 2021 draft is coming up. A scheduled meeting for sensitization that was supposed to take place this weekend was moved to Thursday the 15th. And so, this is very important. It is very important that all the LGA leaders, all the county leaders, all the activists, all the cabinet members, even Restoration Council members, every stakeholder of this interim government and the Ambazonian struggle be at that meeting on Thursday, the 15th. It is a critical meeting, and every one of you is invited. The link for the meeting, the Zoom link, will be circulated in the days ahead. But mark your calendar. I think it is on 9 p.m. It is 9 p.m. Thursday. 9 p.m. Thursday, Amber time. So please mark your calendar. You want to be in that meeting. For those of you wondering how the last draft has gone, how it has been utilized on ground zero, you want to be in that meeting to get a little gist of how it has been used, or it is being used on ground zero. This meeting is in preparation for Award 2021. Award 2021. We hope that every one of you out there is being sensitized to show up in your numbers to defend your local government area, in this new draft. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is the time that you will have enablers out there asking questions such as, what has happened to the former draft? We have not seen much action on the ground. Chris and Sako has squandered the money. You know, they raise every form of doubt in your heart and confusion amidst our population to make sure that you are discouraged to go out and draft. Please, this is one of those moments you close your ears to every form of distraction, out there from enablers and blacklegs and saboteurs of our struggle. We got to keep on drafting year in, year out, until we declare this war formally over, with victory and with our flag permanently raised in Boya. So please, if you are out there, I guess you do not want your LGA or your county to come last. Last year, the first three in the draft were Mezam first, then Momo second, LBLM third. I don't remember which one was fourth. Was it Fako? I think it may have been Fako. I think so. Yeah, that was the order. We need an upset. This time, ladies and gentlemen. So please, I hope that you are out there sensitizing every one of your local government member to show up and draft for your local government. Recall that you are not drafting for the interim government. You are not drafting for the National Treasury. You are drafting for your local government. That money will get into your local government to be used in defending the local government from the aggression of terrorists occupying La République du Cameroon soldiers. So, the ball is in your court. Again, that is coming up really, really soon, and you need to be in the meeting. That is coming up on Thursday the 15th. Now, I will quickly move to another subject, ladies and gentlemen. Again, continue to hit your share button. I will move to another subject, which is an update from an update from Inwa. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hold, please? I bring you an update from Inwa, and I have a correspondent with me on the line. But before I bring him on, I just want to give you a little background in here. We have learned that Fulanese went back to Inwa to attack the community. Unfortunately, our boys, Ambazonia Restoration Forces, this time were able to repel them and they withdrew. However, they withdrew back into Nigeria. They withdrew back, the Fulanese withdrew back into Nigeria. However, we have learned that they are preparing a comeback into Inwa, and they are actually being sponsored by the regime in Yaoundé to destabilize that community and to grab indigenous land. That is in Inwa. With me, joining me here on the line is a comrade who has been very, very informative about this incident in Inwa. Hello, I would not like to disclose his name for security purposes, ladies and gentlemen, but just take the message. Hello.
Hello, Shakish.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining me. Can you hear me?
Fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so tell us. It's been about 3 weeks now that we never talked for this Inwa incident. Tell us what it go on for Inwa at the moment.
Chris, I say how people don't talk so. We and our people don't talk say we no go fit for Shidon. We kill the how they kill people. Really 2 weeks now. How one power don't come out for go make it member. But other people they don't come out with the they come out with cow. Can put them inside a farm. A chop and rice. I put them for rice farm. You can holler them. So why they put them for a rice farm? They talk say if you talk they will kill you. Cause you don't quiet. One week the next day, one come the day for inside cocoa farm. This Mbororo they don't come for inside a palm bush for palm wine. They drink all palm wine for inside bush. They don't drink them all. Come out now, can't talk for person which probably they do. You want to be answer now for some place they call and say see for corner Savongari or to quarter for Cabo Savongari. So they don't talk say he don't the talk that they say what he say yeah when I become take cow put them for my farm why when I be doing so. See you go talk again. See never when I come out for drink my member which we don't do it for now. That would people don't take now they choke you outside kill them. Now
when this one happened.
They want a bit like 2 weeks ago because we never talk with this palaver.
Yeah.
I want to remind you for that one. Because
okay.
We don't talk for that palaver. We don't talk for many things. We don't talk for this one.
Okay.
So this one like 2 weeks for instance Savongari for people don't carry this man who they don't took and bring them for Joe for a chief for city house. For say now we not bury this man. You will don't go. You join with the people to bring up. Come spoil within the people bury them. Younger people don't treat them. They talk say they will fight these Bororo people. Now the Bororo people they don't call some other Bororo. They make them come.
They call them from where? Steve from Nigeria.
They call the one for Nigeria, call the one they did around Savongari, where they did for that side for Ngu, the one they did for that side for Jato. They call them for telephone, make them come. Now, so when they want come, they want run now, come meet up now, with the people, inside with the people. He one. Now, he way no day for run. We the people now hold you for them. Say must tell you who are the other people they did. The one between take you for go with them. Easter fight, she took some man, they killed, they beat him now, he died too. Now government don't, they don't talk say make them that parliamentarian for one. Mr. Adamu.
Yes.
He said enough he do no nothing because government not get power to do anything for help. Now only force and that they don't bring nobody. But Bororo people now they don't go call other Bororo, they want for Nigeria. So one before Friday, they don't come again. Plenty.
This last Friday?
Friday, so we're in 3 days, maybe 2 days. So.
Yes.
They don't come say they won't come job younger people again. For kill we now we do for they don't stay for the all life. They say we will come out, give them, lamb them put their cow. So one week Friday they don't bring the one for Nigeria, they don't bring the one for around Savongari. Make them come now can attack we. But that's time for the one come now. When younger people don't try to talk to me, this Ambazonia avoid them. That restoration forces made them help protect the population. So the boy they don't ready now. Well the wait. The one can sit down below to them come out plenty to come. They don't even know say boy they don't prepare. Just the way with the boy them start fire gun. Just the gun with the fire. Or they come out run, go back. Now we don't say they do for Nigeria, they go with the other brother, they bring them back. But they can continue for killing people.
So far, since the last time where we talked on this subject, the colonial administration for Nwa, which they don't do, they still stand up for these Fulanis.
They never catch no one Bororo man. Even the one where they don't come, so can't took this power at the top they die. All government know the people there. They know outside and they never catch no one. They never talk no nothing. They know they do no nothing for hell of people. All my people they suffer. All contribute to suffer. Oh man, this part now old man this man be around 75 years. When they don't catch you before. You can order a killer to run for them. Bring your mimbo. If probably they for farm they do a cocoa. They come to scatter all the cocoa.
Now, how about the refugee situation for Nwa? People that still run out for go to Nigeria, for go hide themselves in refugee camps?
Plenty people don't come out. Plenty people don't come out because government for La Republic they do no nothing for help the people. And borrow they go, they come, they only increase now for increase. People don't run there for their farm, them all. People don't run for their house, them all. They want to want them. So someone did go for that side from Taba, someone did go for that side for Magba, someone did go for that side for banking. But plenty don't go for Nigeria. Plenty don't go for Nigeria. Go still for this. Plenty people don't go for Nigeria. And the see what they do for that for village them. They come up go join up for one village or stay for together because it is go one they will kill them. So people know the work farm. Even government for Savongari they do for one. Do for one don't give order. Say make no farmer, no whole cutlass, no whole for work farm. That one nothing will the work farm. So they don't talk say maybe they no see man with you maybe no see man with cutlass.
So how farmers for that place then they do for go whole farm now?
They need to go farm because government don't deny them they no hold they no hold cutlass. How you go farm now? When you go farm, they will catch you because they don't hold cutlass.
They know they eat.
How they don't pass cow now for chop grass now. They chop like bed now. The one who they don't see for tree, they harvest and chop them because no man no get right for go for farm. And Bororo people they carry their gun. They know they catch one man with a gun, but they don't catch now with country people. for not take cutlass for not take for go farm.
Now, tell me, will be discussed before, and you tell me, say, this Mbororo, as they may be kicked out by the restoration forces, they regard that for comeback for Nwa. Tell me what you know about this.
Now, so when they don't go, they be the church say they will come, do how they will do first time, just come, they kill people, the whole village. The one come now, the way this Ambazonia restoration force, they throw gun, the kind of gun where they shoot. The way where they shoot them, they'll come out run. Now we don't hear say they don't go, they gather other people, them for other Bororo, them for Nigeria, how they will gather first time. And this time, they will go again, go see them, go around to them, they join them. And we don't hear to say, government don't talk, say, it will help them to gun them. So they talk, say, if Ambazonia, the restoration force, they not put down their gun, surrender. Government says they will join them for openly for camp, join with the Bororo, they made the whole people. So they say their problem, I say, boy, the way they defend with, when they put all guns for them before they will stop. If they not put them, government to go join them for the between fight. I think where they don't sit down with chief them with the parliamentarian, they talk for meetings.
All right. Thank you for this update. I hope say when our community, when they work with the restoration forces and the interim government for see where if it be done for this situation. We just want to make people them know say we have them in mind. Unfortunately, all that we fit for do now for make sure say the Ambazonia restoration forces they be equipped enough for
now you the one crazy now we people of United Nations not the camp for Halloween. We people like African Union not the camp for Halloween. Now only Cameroon government where they talk say it look on we enough in look on we. It leaves people that they can't kill we. People who they know say now we do for this land. This Bororo people come out now for come out come out away. But they don't give land for Bororo people. This land for who we get a farm. Now we too don't talk say if government, if the interim government, we help with people there. Because now we don't get even all the power they be taken wrong with them, Bororo taken wrong with them, share them with the government people there. They all go with them, they don't catch them. Even foul now we don't run all they can't take no foul, they kill them. So we don't get something for sell them. Join money, give this boy the made them help this for the penny. So if interim government not help we, I mean some people they will finish all week.
All right. Thank you. We're out of time. We are out of time. I also want hope say the LGA and Donga Mantung County as a whole. They try to do fundraising as best as they can for rescue this situation. Thank you. When I get back next time, we will talk about this again. We will like to find out what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Thank you.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. That was it for what is going on. What is going on in Nwa, in Donga Mantung, the invasion of Nwa by Fulanese in Donga Mantung, precisely in Nwa. I want to take you right now to Bui, where you have the unbeatable Bui warriors. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. What you are looking at on your screen, that is what took place. That is what took place over the weekend in Bui, and that is a handiwork of Bui warriors. Again, I call them the unbeatable Bui warriors. Bui has become a burial ground, ladies and gentlemen, like the BLM in this conflict where they are decimating French Cameroon soldiers in their numbers. You find French Cameroon soldiers in this scene licking their wounds from the injuries inflicted upon them by Bui warriors. We understand that about 3 of them lost their lives, were killed by Bui warriors. I think by now these guys would have learned a lesson that Bui is becoming unbeatable. I think all of us here at the interim government and in Ambazonia should really give Bui warriors, thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen, thumbs up for what they are doing in Kumbo, in Bui, bleeding out Bui and bleeding out La République du Cameroon troops. But I also want to bring to you this security information, ladies and gentlemen. We have learned that the return fund of Fon Mbinglo, he went back to Bui with an army which has now been divided into 6 regiments. They are made to dress in civil, to invade every camp and every community in which Bui warriors are said to be lodging. So, we are warning the people in the community out there in Bui as a whole. Be very, very vigilant who is coming into your community. And the one thing that we've also learned is that these infiltrators, these La République du Cameroon infiltrators, soldiers brought in by Fon Mbinglo, I think Mbinglo III of Insok, they are Insok indigenes. They can speak the dialect, they can communicate with the people with ease, and so they are brought in to infiltrate the camps of Bui warriors in the 6 communities that make up Bui. So please, we are passing a warning to every civilian in Bui. Your community is being invaded. When you go anywhere, you are talking to anybody, be very, very careful whom you are talking to, because you may be talking to some of those guys who have been brought in by Fon Mbinglo III of Insok to track and to kill Bui warriors. Of course, we can't fail to ask Bui warriors to be extra security conscious at this moment, because these guys are brought in purposefully to track them down and to kill them. So I hope that Bui warriors get this news. Before I leave this subject, I must say thank you out there to all of you Bui warriors who are making Ambazonia proud. If this was all about Bui warriors and some of the fighters around Ambazonia, I bet you this thing would have been long over. It would have been long over. I want to, on behalf of this interim government, send our thanks, our appreciation to all the fighters, all the warriors out there in Bui. God bless you all, and may He continue to protect you, give you wisdom and strength to continue to do what you know to do best. God bless you all. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, I will take you to the main subject of the day. I will take you to the main subject of the day, which is my monologue, which I titled The Emptiness in Biafra Alliance. The emptiness in the Biafra Alliance. I am so sure that most of you have been so bitter about this, to the extent that it just takes some maturity for you to hold your peace. But I come to you with good news. There is just no reason, ladies and gentlemen, for which you should be worried or troubled about this stage-played so-called world press conference out there by Cho Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to sit still and as I bring to you my monologue for the day. After the monologue, I will be bringing in the panel for the day. And they will give their take on all what this is about. So please, as I bring you the monologue, continue to hit that share button. The supposed world press conference of last week between Cho Ayaba and leader of one of Biafra's factions, Nnamdi Kanu, has drawn a lot of fury and outrage from the majority of Ambazonians, both in ground zero and in the diaspora. And rightly so. And by the way, the international press conference, as advertised, turned out to have no such international character in it. I guess many of you were expecting a galore of international press, where it turned out that not even the local press was there. Even so, responses from Ambazonians and Igbos were not mixed. They have been blunt and crushingly to their disapproval. Not a few people have bore their feelings on the piece of stage-managed propaganda. One person had this to say, and I quote, "When the phony World Press Conference with one Mr. Nnamdi Kanu was announced, I thought I would follow the press conference on any world news website. To my greatest surprise, not even a local media syndicate aired the so-called World Press Conference." This is coming from one Chijioke Ifeanyi. He wrote from Enugu. Another observer wrote, and I quote, "Nigeria crushed Biafra under Odumogwu Chukwu Emeka Ojukwu, the Ikemba of Nnewi, when Biafra was strong and recognized by some foreign states, including France. Nigeria will still crush Biafra with ease now." But this is his regret, and I quote, "Unfortunately," he said, "Ambazonia has been betrayed to the slaughterhouse on both sides by the ADF." End of quote. Wilfred Tassang, writing from prison, weighed in and had this to say, and I quote, "The one message the Nigerian authorities are receiving from this so-called alliance is this: if they allow the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia to restore their independence," Wilfred Tassang continues, "then their territory will serve as a corridor for the IPOB to ship in arms. This message is so unmistakable that even a baby revolutionary will not miss it." End of quote. Then Chief Barrister Charles Taku of the International Criminal Court also commented, and I quote, by this reckless self-serving pecuniary action, this young man has potentially caused so much harm to our restoration quest. Unless the legitimate leaders of our cause take remedial action to promptly send envoys to Nigeria, first through their diplomatic missions and then in Abuja to repair the damage. Charles Taku continues, "There is no legal or strategic or diplomatic reason for this reckless conduct." End of quote. That was again from Chief Charles Taku. Fellow Ambazonians, you have legitimate reasons to vent indignation. That is, if this move was beyond mere propaganda. Personally, I think it wasn't. The whole charade will not go past propaganda. And for that reason, I urge you all to hold your peace. In fact, this was probably the first and the last that you will hear of it, though grave diplomatic blunder has been made. The show of last week was the first and the last, because Cho Ayaba has a history of making these theatrics of a kind, and each time they end up leading to nowhere. When the Swiss initiative came up, Ayaba and his group said the Swiss were accomplices with the Yaoundé regime. He paraded a narrative that suggested he has no way ready to serve as a mediator for the conflict. What happened to that arrangement? No one ever heard anything about it again. As usual, he just wanted to be a spoiler. Remember also the famous loud-sounding alliance announced between them and the Bas movement made up of La République du Cameroon citizens. You recall that? You ever wondered what became of it? Of course, it died a natural death once the ulterior motive would not materialize. Of course, the ulterior motive was cash, to make cash. And nothing wrong with that, of course. But once it wasn't producing the desired goal, no one has since heard anything about it. It died. I urge you to hold your peace and watch and see as the Biafra quote-unquote alliance die another natural death too. And I will tell you why. This is it. During their World Press Conference, Ayaba usurped himself as leader of the Ambazonian struggle. Nnamdi was lied to. Nnamdi wasn't told that Ayaba is actually a figurehead. Only a figurehead of a leader would fly by himself to London to single-handedly negotiate an oil deal for 8 million people. Nnamdi wasn't told that Ayaba is an accomplice in the Ambazonian struggle for independence. Nnamdi wasn't told that Ayaba fights this struggle against his own brothers and people, and not against La République du Cameroon. Nnamdi wasn't told that money has changed hands on several occasions between Ayaba and La République du Cameroon. Nnamdi wasn't told Ayaba prefer alliances with foreigners such as the Bas movement, to his own counterparts in the struggle. Nnamdi wasn't told that Ayaba's resume in this struggle is tainted with the blood of his own people, killed by scattered fighters allegedly belonging to him. Nnamdi wasn't told that, unlike him in Biafra, Ayaba has supervised the killing of Ambazonian chiefs and threatened to be ahead even more who dare challenge his exorcism. Nnamdi wasn't told that the only thing that put the face of Ayaba in the Ambazonian struggle is the act of kidnapping, abduction, and ransom taking from the very masses he should be fighting to defend. Nnamdi wasn't told that all that Ayaba wants from the alliance is cash and bragging rights. Nnamdi should rest assured Ayaba takes nothing to the table, because he has nothing. If indeed he did, won't all of us have seen it for the past 4 years and counting? He has nothing to show in the course of 4 years of this conflict. What is it that he hopes to take from Biafra, or to take to Biafra, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing, and I mean zero. Perhaps even more complicated is the contestable leadership of Igbo struggle that Nnamdi Kanu claims to be anointed leader. In Igbo land, you have three major groups contending for leadership of the Igbo cause. It is no overstatement to state here that Nnamdi's IPOB isn't the most popular of the three. Nnamdi has done well, though, to build an army that is very visible, a large one in that matter. But the mainstream in the Igbo, I mean the overwhelming majority of Igbos, they do not recognize Nnamdi as their leader, despite his visibility. Within the Igbo community, Nnamdi is rather a controversial figure, a very controversial one. Within the Igbo revolutionary movement, you have Ohanense, the largest Igbo sociocultural worldwide group. You also have MASOB, Movement for the Actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra. And then you also have IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, the group that Nnamdi is leader. Ohanense, the largest and most popular of all the groups in Igbo land, doesn't believe in an independent Biafra country. They preach one Nigeria, howbeit restructured to take away dominance from Hausa Fulanese in the north. They crave an Igbo presidency in Nigeria, though they will gladly welcome an Igbo nation even if it is achieved by Nnamdi. Its sheer size kind of make it impossible. MASOB, Movement for the Actualization of the State of Biafra, is equally very influential. Between 2005 and 2009, they reenacted and circulated the Igbo currency and an Igbo passport. Like Nnamdi's IPOB, MASOB preaches an independent Igbo land cut off from Nigeria. It believes in achieving this through a non-violent method, even though the Nigerian government has labeled them as a terrorist group. They command quite a huge amount of support. We are told they are larger than that of Nnamdi in Igbo land. The point is that as far as this alliance thing is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, Nnamdi may just be another Ayaba, that is to say, not qualified to speak for the Igbos by sheer size and influence of these other movements, just as Ayaba cannot speak for Ambazonians by virtue of the size, the support, and the influence that the interim government commands in Ambazonia. For those who want us to believe there is some strategic gain to be made out of Ayaba-Nnamdi alliance, maybe there is one to be made for Nnamdi. But for Ayaba, no. None that we see for Ambazonia. If anything, it is a minus for Ambazonia, one that could lead to ECOWAS and the African Union, if they had any interest at all to intervene in the Ambazonia conflict, to do a rethink, fearing a free Ambazonia could become a panacea for neighboring Biafra. One thing we must not take lightly, though, ladies and gentlemen, is to want to think that Nigeria will say, oh, it's small Ayaba, he's a little guy, he doesn't speak for Ambazonia, and Ambazonians detest him. He's not the legitimate Ambazonia leader. No, not at all. We cannot make that mistake. Again, we cannot make that mistake. This is the thing. Ayaba has knowingly or ignorantly given Nigeria the ammunition with which to come after our struggle, with the full weight of its military, its diplomacy and political machinery. As obscure as Ayaba may be, what he has done has made all of us, collateral damage or accomplices. He has knowingly or ignorantly played La République du Cameroon's game by proxy. If Ambazonians do not take to Twitter and tweet every Nigerian government official, the storyline will be that Biafra has joined hands with us, Biafra, to fight La République du Cameroon, and after that, to fight Nigeria. We would be seen as wanting to destabilize Nigeria. Our refugees will be picked up and jailed in Nigeria or transferred to Cameroon, and Nigeria will report them as Ambazonian terrorists. The Cameroon police will, in exchange, begin picking up Igbo youths anywhere in Ambazonia, tagging them as terrorists and taking hefty sums of ransoms before releasing them. Since Nnamdi's faction is considered a terrorist group in Nigeria and in ECOWAS, even across the globe, do not be surprised that they start calling us terrorists too. A message La République du Cameroon has always wanted to see resonated. We have been waiting for the AU to weigh into the Ambazonian case for years. If they were prepared to do so tomorrow, expect it now to be delayed, maybe for another decade. Times to show Ayaba's immaturity. Cameroon will now be able to convince the African Union that Ambazonians are terrorists. And guess what? They will have an ally, the big Nigeria, to concur and to support. Thanks to the exorbitant callousness of Cho Ayaba. These kinds of alliances, ladies and gentlemen, that he is in the habit of gunning for, it is hard to imagine what the gains are. The alliance with the vast movement of La République du Cameroon was worth nothing. And this one too is equally meant to produce nothing. In the point where the Ambazonia struggle is, or at the point where the struggle is, you seek alliances with countries, not with secessionist groups. Secessionist groups have nothing, and I mean nothing to offer us. They cannot give us money because they too are needy. They cannot give us arms because they can never have enough for themselves. They cannot recommend or lobby for us at the regional level in ECOWAS, at the continental level with the African Union, nor at the United Nations or any country, because if they could, they themselves would be an independent country. But they are not. Fellow Ambazonians, my appeal is that we should consider this just as one of those setbacks along the road that we must overcome. A chief brutalism of Ambazonia that we must overcome. We have no option but to overcome. As I have appealed here time and again, let's prepare our minds for a long drawn-out war against La République. Things like this only remind us of who the enablers really are among us. But we shall not be discouraged. We shall not faint. We shall not be perturbed. We shall remain focused on the goal. And no matter how long it's going to take us, we must persevere. For we will win. We will win. Evil has never triumphed over good. Evil has never triumphed over good. There is always light at the end of every tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. And with patience, perseverance, and faith in God, we are going to make it, despite all, and I mean all, of the obstacles. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I will now bring in here my panel for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I am joined here today by Comrade Barrister Ghana Valentine, joining me from the state of Arkansas. Also joined by Barrister Timothy Bisa, joining me from the state of Pennsylvania. And also on the line, joining me, ladies and gentlemen, from London, Barrister Martin Tumasang. Ladies and gentlemen, such a privilege to have all of you back here on the set. I will start with you, Barrister Tumasang, because you have a piece out there. You have a piece out there that essentially gave thumbs up for what, as you listen to the introduction to my monologue, many Ambazonians and even in the Igbo community have condemned as an act of political and diplomatic immaturity from Cho Ayaba. Do you still stand by your position that it was the right thing to do, sir?
Chris, I still stand by the position that it was the right thing to do, and there is very little which will happen either to Ambazonia, to our refugees, or to our reputation. First, this is not the first time we've signed such an accord. I will start by telling you about Cabinda versus Ambazonia. Cabinda, for those who don't know, just to give them a background, in 1885, Cabinda, under the Treaty of Smulamboko, became a protectorate under Portugal. And then in 1956, instead of Portugal continuing to run Cabinda, it transferred the administration to Angola. And then Angola in 1975 got independence together with the enclave of Cabinda as part of Angola. So now the people of Cabinda started fighting for their independence. We have FLEC that is there fighting. They are just similar to Biafra. I'm telling you today that Ambazonia has signed a similar accord with the people and the group fighting in Cabinda. We were not termed terrorists. We were not blackmailed internationally. This is not the first time we are signing an accord. So there is anecdotal evidence to show that these accords, they sign them, they mean nothing. If there is any benefit that can come from there, let's go. I told people, look on and hear what this guy Kano has to say. If there's any benefit, fine. If there's no benefit, it's a non-issue. We move on with our lives. We signed such an accord. It's written. I've seen the accord we signed with Cabinda before in the past. So there is nothing new here that will bother me. That is the first thing I will say. The second thing I will say is anybody who is saying that this accord would harm us, will do this, is a fraud. This accord was signed in October 2020. The SS, Nigerian Secret Service, knew the accord was signed. Not a single person in Nigeria arrested. Nothing has happened. It's a non-issue. The press conference.
I'm sorry, when did you say the accord was signed?
In November 2020. This was just a press conference. They had signed this thing long ago. So it's not something
between who and who?
Between Ayaba and Kano.
So the accord was signed. That is quite revealing, because I don't think any we were aware of that. So the accord was signed since November 2020.
Sorry?
So the accord was signed since November 2020.
Yes, it was not signed on the day of the press conference. And nothing has happened. They just came public to talk about it. Mr. Chris, to be honest, you as a journalist, to be making a big deal out of this thing, it's totally absurd. Nigeria is not scared of Ayaba. Nigeria is worried about Southern Cameroon, not because of Ayaba's action, but because of one person's action.
No. I think you got me wrong. I think you got me wrong. I didn't say Nigeria is afraid of Ayawa. No, of course, not by any means.
No, I'm saying that
Nigeria will be afraid of Ambazonia by proxy of Ayawa.
No, you say it will cause us harm in African Union, in ECOWAS, and you list all these things. I'm saying the harm that it will cause us is not being caused by Ayaba, it's being caused by a certain person,
Let me explain to you why I said so. You will recall that I went to Nigeria. That was 2000 and was it 2019 when Sisiko and the rest, they were abducted by the Nigerian government in complicity with the Cameroon government. I went to Nigeria.
Yes.
I spoke with officials of the Nigerian Refugee Commission. I spoke with the High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in Abuja. And guess what they told me? They told me the reason that Sisiko and the others were abducted was because they were building, training an army in one state in Nigeria. The name has gone off my mind. And you recall that the army that was being trained there was under the control of Ayaba. But these authorities, they picked up Sisiko and the others. When I tried, I did everything to explain to them that Sisiko had nothing. He had nothing to do with that army being trained in Nigeria. They didn't believe me. They told me, what is the difference? You are all the same. You are all separatists. You are all secessionists. So, in other words, what Ayaba was doing there led to the abduction of Sisiko, Tarsang, and the rest. This is what we are talking about.
Chris, what which led to the abduction of Sisiko, that panicked Nigeria, it's not Ayaba's action. What happened is Professor Martin Charles' action. Professor Martin Charles crossed the international boundary and went and is claiming 3 states in Nigeria, which were former northern Nigeria, to break Nigeria, carve them, take those 3 states, come and join with Southern Cameroon.
Comrade, no, I think you are shifting responsibility. Martin Chair has made that claim for the duration of this entire struggle.
Let me finish my point.
Can you get a point? I think you are essentially framing up Martin Chair because, listen, he has made up those claims for the duration of this struggle.
My segment. How do you know
go on, answer the question. Martin Chair has made the claim throughout the course of this struggle, not 4 years.
As an intellectual, let's be fair. Ayaba has not claimed 1 square meter of Nigerian territory. Professor Martin Chair with his group are claiming 3 states of Nigeria. They want to break Nigeria, take the states, come and join the Southern Cameroon. The population they want to take from Nigeria is more than the population of Southern Cameroon. That is where panic. Nigeria formed the secret service for Nigeria, formed the whole just to monitor their movements. They did raids in Karaba, in Maiduguri, and the rest, captured a lot of people. Those people have been coming to Bamenda to have meetings, more than 25 meetings they have. That is where Nigeria is panicking. Because those people are using UN instruments, they are using UNESCO, they are using so many things. The issue is not Ayaba. Me, I'm supporting that thing because Ayaba, is no issue. The person that is panicking Nigeria to be capable of trying to access for their base is the fact that they are trying to divide Nigeria. And you know the union between northern Nigeria and Nigeria is not very clear. No union. That is the one that panics them. It's not Kano. It's not Ayaba.
All right. Thank you, comrade. Stay put in there. Let me get to the other panelists and let's get their take on this. I will go to Barrister Tim Mbese, who is a very, a veteran lawyer here who has worked with the United Nations in the Ivory Coast. Barrister Mbese, tell me what you make of this so-called alliance between Ayaba and Nnamdi of Biafra, please.
Thank you very, very much. Before I start, I would like to remind Mr. Tumasa, as a lawyer, to know that in international relations, language has consequences, actions as well. And further, most of the wars that were witnessed around were not started by action. They were started by simple words. Is Ayaba responsible? Yes. Let me clarify, Mr. Tumasa. If you remember, the so-called training in Dadi in Nigeria, it did not end there. Was that training from Nigeria indeed? that caused the Republic to go and invade Manfred. If you have not forgotten, the prefect of Manu at the time, danger was coming. And what did he do? He issued a circular asking the people to run away. And they ran. And the military came. And they killed them. Since that 4 years ago, we have not seen the army that Mr. Ayaba trained and landed through that. So, sir, you are, I think, wrong. Secondly, as a lawyer, sir, you know that when you go into complete agreement between Namdi and Cho Ayaba or some type of agreement, there's what we call consideration. What is Minister Cho Ayaba offering to the so-called Biafra in return for what? I don't know. Legally, I have not found one. Therefore, we must agree that propaganda has it. Yes, my matters not to Nigeria. Nigeria is about that. And I think you remember, after adopting the boys, the 10 from Nara, Nigeria following it up by sending other refugees away, deporting them to Yaoundé. Pretext that these were fighters coming to destabilize the country. It has no meaning to you, it has meaning to the rest of us, sir. You don't need to become a law professor to know that. That's a fact. And again, I think it's about Ayaba. This propaganda has to stop, because we must know the limits to which you can go. And my Mr. once more, that when this war started, Ayaba claimed that his ADF had a camp in Meme, Kuma. It was all propaganda. What happened? It turned out that he had a camp. Well, what was the camp? The camp was based in Mokete plantations for a price of 4 million francs at the least. There's a record of Ayaba causing distribution of that money that was paid to him by Mokete plantations. Is that a propaganda or war? No. The track record is long, sir. The track record is long. This is not a courtroom. This is a political room. My father and your father, my mother and your mother know all this law. But they know the consequence of law. That when you shoot, go on people. That way you pretend that you're fighting and you're not fighting, they will follow you and they will not find you and they will kill somebody innocent. So, as Ambazonia is concerned, maybe I'm concerned, nobody even knew what the so-called Republic of Biafra was all about. It was instead Ayaba telling us what it was all about the Fulanis and the North, the Yorubas. The NAM never said about that. They never said about that. So it doesn't matter to the government, doesn't matter to the international community. It does. Propaganda has a limit, sir. What did Ayaba say he was going to do with Namdi? Going to issue a web preference. What did he do there? A three-way video communication Zoom connection. Is that why he called an international press briefing? No, it is propaganda. Again, sir, propaganda has a limit.
All right.
So you have to let him know that when
all right, Barrister Mbisa, we're having issues with your audio. It breaks a lot. It breaks quite a lot. I doubt whether the people out there get you. I will have you log back out and log back in using the same password that was given you to see whether the audio can improve. While you do so, let me move to Barrister Valentine to bring us his take on this. And I will ask the same question, Barrister Valentine. You listen to Barrister Tubasang and you listen also to Mbesa. You listen to my monologue. What is your take on this so-called alliance? What are the benefits, if any?
Thank you very much, Comrade Chris, and thanks to the other members of this panel for their input. Let me first start by saying, by the way, just by greeting our restoration forces on the ground who are fighting, who are sacrificing their lives, and greet everybody and kudos to everybody who is contributing to this struggle to free Ambazonia. Regarding this issue of Dr. Cho Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu, the first thing I want to say is that, I mean, we have to start looking at Africa from a very global perspective. And the breakup of Nigeria is not in Ambazonia's interest. The breakup of Nigeria is not in the interest of the Africa sub-region. The breakup of Nigeria is not in the interest of Africa. Having said that, they are looking at this supposed alliance between Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu. One thing that I observed in this struggle from the beginning is that whenever you are a regional power in any area of the world, I don't care if it's the Soviet Union in that region, I don't care if it's China in Asia, I don't care if it's the United States around the world, but specifically around the Atlantic and around Europe. Whenever there is a simmering conflict going on around your borders, and if there are any Nigerians in authority listening, this message is really meant for you. Whenever there is a simmering conflict going on around your borders, and you either ignore it or you become expedient. And what do I mean by expedient? Expediency is doing something contrary to principle because it is advantageous. When you become expedient, this conflict will metamorphose, it will spread and eventually affect you. And we haven't learned from the likes of Europe and North America. For example, when we had the Bosnian conflict, the Europeans were very eager to invite the Americans to come in and storm out that conflict, because before you know it, you start having the regional alliances ally themselves with each other. The Croats were probably the natural allies of the Germans. Maybe the Serbians, the natural allies of the French. So you start having all of these parties come in, and before you know it, it blows into a bigger conflict. So this rapport or supposed rapport between Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu is pointing to the failure of Nigeria to take the right side in this conflict. And the Nigerian government knows that Ambazonia has a right to self-determination. The Nigerian government knows about Resolution 1608 because they voted for it. 1514. They were part of all of those resolutions, so they had exposure to them. But they've chosen to take a blind eye to over 25,000 being murdered on the border of their country, and now they are beginning to have some, I don't care if it's just a propaganda issue, but there are possibilities to have Ambazonians, whether publicly or privately, align with forces within the Biafra movement, which goes to threaten that whole Africa sub-region. And so, whether the impact is positive or negative, I cannot really weigh in on that appropriately because I don't know Nnamdi Kanu that well, and I haven't seen a lot that is substantive about Dr. Cho Ayaba towards aligning himself first with the other movements of Ambazonia. Aligning himself with Sokader, aligning himself with the interim government, allowing himself with people who are fighting on the ground, making public statements to condemn the kidnappings that are happening on Ambazonians by ADF guys on the ground. So, yes, there's some potential. It might have some international resonance, but Ayaba is 100 steps ahead of himself. The whole is always greater than the sum of its constituent parts. And Ayaba should take that move to unite the Ambazonian struggle, and the Ambazonian struggle will be able to strategize better towards emancipating Ambazonia. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get back to Barrister Martin over there. Barrister Martin, you made mention of the fact that this deal was signed since November last year. Since November last year. If I may ask you, if you are a supporter of Mr. Ayaba, what do you make of the fact that Ayaba has reached out to the Basque movement, this Francophone movement? He has reached out to the Igbos, but he cannot reach out to his own brothers with whom he's supposed to be fighting against La République du Cameroun, sir.
Secretary Chris, I'm not here as a supporter of Ayaba. I'm not defined in any group. If I see interim government,
get me right. Get me right. This is the question. This is the question. If you support,
okay.
If you support Ayaba alliance with Basque, you support it with Biafra. Why should you not say to him, why not work with your own brothers?
For a start, I don't support the alliance between Ayaba. That one is not something which I support, any alliance with anybody in the Republic. The one with Biafra, I can support that. Yes, and to work with the other groups, I support also. The principle of working with his brothers, that principle everybody wants, but we don't know how to get it to work, Secretary Chris. It's how to actualize it. That is the problem of everybody. They fight, they abuse, they do stuff. It's not working. There is nobody who will not say work together, but we don't know how to do it. So we learn to coexist.
The problem, Barrister Martin, is this. When you have a counterpart in the struggle who is fighting your own brothers, killing your own brothers, and you cannot name a single battle he has fought against the enemy, don't you see a really big problem there?
Chris, if anybody is fighting and killing another Ambazonian, every Ambazonian will say that we cannot support that. I'm talking theoretically, nobody has brought any evidence to say this one is killing that one, but nobody can support that if you are killing each other. Secondly, on the issue of battles, they are fighting a bit. I don't know the extent of it, but I've seen them lose fighters. They are not losing these fighters in a beer parlor. Somebody is fighting somewhere and losing fighters. If you ever had told, there are people who are on the ground dying. So they are fighting to the extent. People are taking to extreme.
Apart from late General Ivor, whom we were told was killed by La République du Cameroun soldiers, I do not recall any single ADF soldiers that has been killed by La République du Cameroun soldiers. Instead, we have it in the books that La République du Cameroun soldiers are fighting alongside, they accompany ADF soldiers to fight against other Ambazonian soldiers.
Secretary Chris, there's a lot of conspiracy theory going.
No, this is not conspiracy. I'm talking about something that has been established with photographs, with footages.
You ask your question, let me answer. Some people have accused Ayaba of working for La République, working with La République, having guns supplied to them by La République, all those things. Nobody has put any concrete evidence. It's conspiracy theory. If you listen to their side, Chris, they are accusing you of being an infiltrator, support being an infiltrator. I hear your side. You turn and hear their side. The same thing you are accusing them, they are accusing you. So I take those things with a pinch of salt. I can't be bothered. I'm not this program, Chris, you advertise it, that is about the Biafra thing. We should not go into the history of all the evils that Ayaba might have caused for the past 4 years, 20 years is in the struggle. We are digressing. Let's concentrate on the Biafra.
No, sorry, I think you are getting it wrong. We are not digressing by any means because these are all interrelated. The question was if Ayaba can enter into alliances with Basque, the Francophone movement, they can enter into alliances with Igbo, Why can't they work with Ambazonians, the ARC group?
Chris, if you ask them, they will say that they've tried to work with other people, but other people have only tried that they should work under them instead of working with them. They have their own complaints, Chris. It's always two sides of the story. You have your accusations. If you turn to that group, they have their own accusations the same, Chris. That's why we can never work together, because everybody's accusing the other.
I am speaking, comrade here. I am speaking as someone who has picked the phone and called Cho Ayaba and say, hey, let's come together, let's talk, let's discuss. And he promised, oh, bro, I'm going to give you a call. Wait for my call. I'm going to give you a call really, really soon. It's almost going to a year. That call never came. So, but let's leave it there. Let me get to Barrister Mbisa, who is now.
Can I just mention?
Barrister Mbisa, hold on, Barrister Tumasa. I will come to you before I get to Mbisa. Barrister Mbisa, if you can lower down your camera, your camera a little bit, please, and stay on the middle of the screen, please. A little more. Yes, leave it there. More, please, more. Okay, leave it there. Perfect. Okay, good. So, but Tumasan, go ahead and make the point you wanted to make quickly.
No, the point I wanted to make, Chris, if it is so difficult to cooperate and work with Ayaba, why can't we consider Ayaba, the ADF, as Hezbollah is in Lebanon? Hezbollah, in terms of fighting Israel, Hezbollah is operating with some autonomy. They try and fight Israel. The government, they give them some allowance to operate.
But Ayaba doesn't fight La République du Cameroon. Hezbollah fights Israel. Ayaba doesn't fight La République. So you cannot even compare that.
Just last week, Ayaba came on and giving names of his two fighters that were just killed by La République. He talked about
when was that? All right, let's hold it there. Let's get Barrister Timothy back in here, please. Let's get Barrister Timothy back in here. Barrister Timothy, I hope your audio is better now. Let me get back to you. I'd like you to finish your thought on this Biafra thing, because we were making that point. It was very solid, legally solid. Unfortunately, the audio wasn't good enough.
You're on mute.
Jesus.
Yes, go on. It's okay, go on.
If Mr. Kumasan wants evidence to show that Ayaba kills other fighters, you don't need to go far. Go to the records. The recorded messages from Tabang Ivo, his press secretary. Just ask him. It's written down. It's recorded. So you can find out. We don't need to waste time there. I was saying that as far as the Namdi thing and the Biafra issue goes, that are you getting me?
Yes.
Yeah. We can hear you now.
That Mr. Tumasan, as a lawyer, you should know that agreements like that are called contracts. There's a consideration, what you give in return for something. So in this alliance between Biafra, so-called Biafra, and Cho Ayaba, what is Cho Ayaba giving in return to Biafra for what? What is he giving up? In other words, what is Biafra benefiting from him? I don't find it. And I was telling you that if it's just considered it propaganda, fine. But know that propaganda in war has consequences. Ordinary statements in war have consequences. And in fact, most wars are started with simple statements. If you did not realize that propaganda has meaning in this struggle, I was referring you to the earlier propaganda, which are not called propaganda, made by Mr. Cho Ayaba, that started the war in the first place. It is Ayaba who is on record for saying that he was he landed in Cameroon through Daddy. It is that propaganda that led our people to go and attack Manfred. And I reminded you that, unless you forget, the prefect of Manfred, a good guy, based on that, he told our people to run away. They ran into the bushes. He informed them, run away, danger is coming. Why? because Ayaba had said that he had landed 2 years, 4 years today. Where are the troops Ayaba landed in Dadi? Did that propaganda make sense? No. Did it cost lives? Yes. It is still costing lives. And was reminding you again once more, unless you forget, that after the adoption of the Naira 12, Nigeria did not stop there. They went further to deport other refugees in Nigeria on the pretext that they were fighters supporting Biafra. If you didn't know that fact, cross-check. That's the fact. So based on all this, will you say that thing is worth the pain? I don't need to go far. Mr. Ghana just reminded you that Nigeria was at the United Nations when Resolution 1608 was passed. But that's not even the point. The Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2002 entered a consent judgment to bring Southern Cameroon issue to the international forum everywhere. That was just Obasanjo's government less than 10, 15, 20 years ago. They have not done it, so there's nothing that they don't know. There's nothing that they don't know. So, again, I try to remind you that, look, if you are a friend to a friend, if you are a friend to somebody, the best friendship is when you give the person the best advice that will help him on his own course. You said they didn't know, you thought that Ayaba was fighting. No, Ayaba is not fighting. I can give you this on record. I said that when this war started, Mr. Cho Ayaba claimed to have a camp in Meme Division. Quote me. It turned out he had a camp in Meme Division, but where was his camp? His camp was in Mokete Plantation. How do we know? Mokete Plantation paid him 4 million francs. Is there any evidence of this? Yes. Cho Ayaba is on record discussing how to share that 4 million from Mokete Plantation. If this is not evidence to you, it is evidence to the ordinary person, sir. Good enough that you know that you knew that this agreement was signed since November. Since November, 5-6 months ago, you knew it. If it was signed in November, what was the purpose bringing it out now in the press conference? What's the strategy? All of us agree, or most of us except you, agree that the whole strategy is to force Nigeria to join the Republic to fight Ambazonians, to tag us as terrorists, trying to destabilize the country. If you don't see it this way, so be it. But that's a fact. That's a fact that even my mother, your mother, my own father will see it. And that's what they are doing. So, again, we never even knew about what Nigeria was, what the Biafra fighting was. It is Cho Ayaba on that super conference who was telling us that the Biafra was about fighting the Yorubas in the north, who have taken the Biafra land, fighting the Yorubas in the south, the Fulanis in the north. Namdi never said that himself. And so Ayaba was instead working for Namdi. So if that means nothing to you, if you were a Nigerian government, then it means something to other Nigerians.
All right.
If he said that, and you were in the Nigerian government, what will you do? You lie down? Certainly not, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Let me turn to Barrister Martin as a proponent to this move. If you can articulate for us what, from your judgment, you think Ambazonia can benefit from this?
Chris, issues of war, there are a lot of things which might be happening we don't know. Intelligence I got from talking even to somebody high up in ADF says they are already getting benefit, that Ambazonia is already getting benefit of this accord. They are not explaining what the benefit is. So I will not talk too much of what benefit we will get or not. Our problem is logistics. Our problems is bullets, guns, and bayonets and RPGs. That is our key problem now.
All right.
Whether they are getting it or not, I don't know. but they claim that they are getting benefits already.
Yes, comrade, you will agree with me that you and I have seen the ADF display a lot of ammunition on the ground, sophisticated ammunition. Even at a point in time, they displayed RPGs. I'm sure you saw that. But there is nothing, and I mean nothing that you know, to show for it. So do you really believe their problem is equipment? And if it is, what are they doing with what they have? The boys of the Ambazonia restoration fighters, even when they had rubber guns, they use it. When they have Dane guns, we see them using it. But these guys claim to have RPGs, they claim to have AKs. Where are they using it?
Chris, to be honest, I cannot talk about other areas. I cannot talk whether they are fighting in Bijati, whether they are fighting in Meme, the rest. But I know the Bamenda Brigade has been of ADF has been engaged in some fighting. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's give to Caesar what is Caesar's. I'm from Mezam. I can talk about Mezam. I know the Alabukam guys had some guys and they are fighting. I'm leaving myself.
The Alabukam guys are the most dangerous in Mezam. When it comes to kidnapping, ransom taking, they are the most dangerous inside Mezam. And I'm sure you know that. And others from Mezam,
Chris,
they know
your
that.
question was where are they fighting? I said, let me limit myself to my county. I could see the Abamenda Brigade, the Alabukam fighting. Whether they have some other bases, the accusations fly left, right, and center. You see me, I'm avoiding these accusations. I've talked to people in ADF who believe that the guys who were captured, the 47 or how many captured in Nigeria, is because Chris Ano phoned and gave information and passed to the Nigerian government. They spurious accusations. I said, please, we'll never do that. So you are accusing them, they are accusing you. You want me to believe any of them like this? That's why I'm avoiding all these accusations. Because as you are accusing them, you go to them, they throw the same accusation. Which one am I supposed to believe?
Well, Barrister, you are more intelligent than that. You are more intelligent than that. You know exactly what is truth and what is manipulation. But let's move on. Barrister Ghana, let me bring you in. Let me bring you in. Namdi Kanu, as I stated in my monologue, is just like Ayaba in this Ambazonian struggle, because when you go to Nigeria, I don't know whether you know this history. I happened to live in Nigeria and worked in Nigeria in the media for about 5 years, and I came to learn a lot about the Biafra movement. You have Ohanense, you have MASOP, Movement for the Sovereign State of Biafra, and Ohanense and IPOB. IPOB is a little tiny organization compared to these two. MASOP has actually reprinted Biafran currency, and they were exchanging at the Benin-Nigerian border, and even Obasanjo had to comment on it. They also printed the Nigerian Biafran passport in 2009. Somebody has said, if Biafra, with all the support that they had under Emeka Odumegwe, that is Ojukwu, if they had all that support from France, from Cote d'Ivoire, I think it was also, was it Liberia or one other country, if they had all this support and they couldn't win a war then against Nigeria, what leverage does Nnamdi Kanu even have to think that some alliance with Ambazonia can make a difference in his quest for a free Biafra?
Thank you, Comrade Chris. One thing that I want to go back to our previous speaker, the good lawyer, is that he says there is no substantive proof of the ADF being aggressive towards our own people or the absence of ADF in fighting. One thing that I want to let him know, Barrister Tumasang, is that I am the LGA chair for Mogamo. And in Mogamo, the restoration forces, and I'm speaking to you earnestly because I speak to the guys on the ground, almost daily. The restoration forces have La République as an adversary, and they have the ADF as an adversary. And within the last 2 months, at least 3 of our restoration forces have died at the hands of the ADF. I have names. 2 were killed in Buzan, and 1 was killed on the road towards Widikum, where they were attacked by the ADF. And at the same time that the attack was going on by the ADF, they were flanked by the military, and 1 restoration fighter died as a result of that. So that is a factual incident that I can communicate the facts to you if you want to. So again, I will say why the ADF is struggling to make alliances with all and sundry. They should focus on working with us, the restoration forces on the ground, as partners. Then we can have a more lethal approach towards La République. So I say that with all purposeful, good intent. But to the question which you asked, Comrade Chris, about the alliance between Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu, and what impact that can really have on our struggle. I'm very cautious on this because I don't want to overlook any potential that might result, and I don't want to be blind also in acknowledging that there might be other conversations that are going on the ground between the Ambazonians and elements within the Igbo Biafran Nigerian society, or societies that are closest or have proximity to our border that might be somewhat advantageous. So socioculturally, the eastern part of Nigeria are people who are closest to us, and it is going to unravel whether the Nigerian government likes it or not. And there might be some positive reverberation from what is happening, because one of the concerns of the West is its ability to come to Africa, exploit its resources, and be able to take those resources unhindered. A concern of the West is stability in the Gulf of Guinea, because that stability is very relevant to a lot of things. I mean, it's important enough for the American government to have built a command post in that area, in the Gulf of Guinea. And with letting the Ambazonian conflict fester for too long without solving it, as U.S. Resolution 6884 says, solving it consistent with the root causes of the conflict, knowing that the Western Nigeria or Southwestern Nigeria is an ongoing ally to us, whether publicly or privately, might urge the powers that be, including Nigeria itself, to think twice and try to urge La République to get to the negotiation table and solve this before something implodes in that Gulf of Guinea, because you never know what might implode. There are some other evolving factors that are ongoing. The natural clock on Pobia is ticking, and consistent with what Barrister Mbesa said. In every contractual engagement, there are 3 elements: there is offer, there is acceptance, and there is consideration. And we don't know the consideration that is being promised to Nnamdi Kanu and his group. But knowing that there is surely a promise or an understanding that is being made, the actualization of what is going on between Ayaba and Nnamdi Kanu, even if this conflict ends, might lead to a conduit where there will be further destabilization of the Gulf of Guinea / the eastern part of the West Africa region. So it's very important, and this is more to the powers that be, the United States, to Nigeria, to give this Ambazonian conflict more attention than they are giving. I mean, less than 1,000 people were killed in Libya and they intervened. Over 25,000 Ambazonians have been killed, slaughtered. Over 400 villages have been burnt, and they are paying lip service to what needs to be done. So there is potential for this understanding, whether publicly or privately, to unravel that sub-region that the powers that be need to be cognizant about and very careful about.
Barrister, let me share something with you here. I have had the opportunity to speak with quite a number of diplomats, and what I hear from them is that they do not want a free Ambazonia. That now says to the Igbos, you see, your neighbors, English Cameroonians, they got their independence. You can get yours. So when you see this alliance thing between Ayaba and the Biafrans, Nnamdi Kanu, doesn't that play into the hands of the international leaders, international community, who will say, well, this is what we want to avoid?
No, it's playing into their hands because they are looking for an excuse not to do what is right. Biafra is very different. There is no international treaty that established Biafra as an independent country. Ambazonia has international treaty that establishes its right to self-determination, and court cases within the UN court system. The African Human Rights Court in Banjul in 2009 ruled Ambazonia in paragraph 20 of its ruling as having a right to self-determination. So international diplomats might use that as an excuse of not giving Ambazonia sovereignty because they are looking for an excuse. And let me take you back. International diplomats are not always right. When
but they speak for their countries, though. You cannot say they are. Well, you may be right, but they speak for their countries.
Yeah, they speak for their countries, but their positions are sometimes ultimately reserved. Don't forget that Winston Churchill was against the intervention in Europe against Hitler. Look at what eventually happened during the Second World War. 50 million people dead. Churchill was totally wrong. Don't forget that when Saddam invaded Kuwait, some international diplomats, including here in the United States, said they should just give Kuwait to Saddam as an appeasement to solve the conflict. So the fact that those are voices coming from international diplomats do not make them paramount or authoritative sources of the truth. The truth as manifested by international law, the truth as manifested by history, the truth as manifested by La République itself, doing all it can to stay away from the negotiation table, is that Ambazonia has a right to self-determination.
Okay, I will let Barrister Martin do a little response to both of you, and I will get to Barrister Besa, and we will move to the next subject, which has to do with the passing of Von Mokete. Barrister, go on, please.
Chris, all the talk that they are not allowing us have independence because we'll act as inspiration to Biafra, I think it's just escapism. Our case is not synonymous with that of Biafra. Yes, Biafra and Ambazonia are members of UNPO. So as members of this unrepresented nations and people organization, there's nothing wrong with them cooperating. There's nothing wrong with them having accords between themselves. Internationally, nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't mean that once you have an accord with a fellow member of UNPO now, you will then have independence. Within UNPO, some people have very good claim for independence. Some of them have very weak claim. Biafra, his claim of independence is a very weak one because Biafra is a later day invention. To be honest,
you are coming back to my point. You are coming back to my point, which is what do we really gain from an alliance with Biafra? And what does Biafra gain from us? We are two needy people.
No, to me, our only gain from Biafra, if we can use them to get some logistics, that is all what I see. If we cannot do that, we jettison the agreement and move on. What Biafra can gain from us, because I've heard the other colleagues talking about consideration. First of all, Biafra lost the war because there was a blockade. I had to block them, food could not enter. We don't know Namdi's plans. Maybe Namdi, first of all, not to repeat the errors of the past, want to have an accord and peace with his neighbors at the side. Secondly, if Nigeria should block Biafra in the sea now, the only way for logistics to come to Biafra now would be through land, and their only neighbor is Ambazonia. So there is a lot of consideration.
The real problem here that we face, this arrangement brings us into. That is the real problem, because you now have Nigeria saying, if we allow anything to go on between these two peoples, then Biafra is gone. And they don't want it. They will do everything to make sure that they go after us to prevent just what you have mentioned.
Now, Chris, once you have that accord with Biafra, if Nigeria does not want, Nigeria can talk to you that stop that accord with Biafra. You would not have a leverage. Say, but you are against us. Okay, if you weaken your move, your stand against us, we will not have the need for Biafra. You have something to leverage against Nigeria. Maybe Nigeria will say, okay, I will try to support you in ECOWAS and the rest, in condition that you have nothing to do with Biafra. You can get some leverage. Please, we have zero leverage as it stands with Nigeria. We can use Biafra. I don't want to be saying it in public, but it's part of the bargaining chips. That's why me I'm not casting this.
I think time will tell. Time will tell. As I mentioned,
exactly.
As I mentioned in my monologue, we have seen a Bas movement alliance. Now it's a Biafra alliance. Nothing came out of the Bas movement. I hope something comes out of the Biafran movement. Let me give the last word on this subject to Barrister Timothy, please.
Thank you, sir. 2 points to make. I'd like to remind ourselves, and specifically Mr. Tumasa, I don't know whether you're familiar with the current map of Nigeria. If you see the current map of Nigeria, what they call the Igbos, they're essentially within the state called Enugu. Enugu state is nowhere near any border with Southern Cameroon or Ambazonia. So the idea of presently getting anything through the so-called Biafra import logistically to Ambazonia is zero. For them to establish their state called Biafra, if it is to be reflective of what happened in 1966-67, they have to subdue the Calabas, subdue Taraba, subdue all these other states that have been created out of their so-called former Eastern Nigeria. Secondly, again, I want to remind ourselves, in diplomacy, there are two things. Diplomacy, 95% of it is done behind the screen. And when there's a breakthrough, they make the public announcement. Why are we here? This agreement was entered in November, according to Mr. Tamasa. Nobody knew about it. But we're here now because last week, just Friday, they announced a breakthrough. Yeah, a breakthrough with Biafra. Should we just keep quiet? A breakthrough in diplomacy has a lot, and as Chris has said, there was a breakthrough with the Bas movement. What has come of it? There's the breakthrough with the so-called Biafra. What has come of it? Again, technically, you and me understand. We are looking for diplomatic support. Diplomatic support does not come from rebel groups.
Correct.
If we have to go to Spain, we'll not be going to the rebel group in Spain, we're going to the Spanish government. Because they still at the United Nations, they vote. If we have to go somewhere else in Nigeria, we're looking for a Nigerian government because they have a vote. Not a renegade group that has not gotten its own independence. It's like Biafra going on the honor, oh, we have the support of Ambazonia, and so what? We're going to support them by doing what? We have not freed ourselves. We want free Biafra. Huh? The brigade over there in Spain has not freed, they said they'll come and free Biafra. So if I were their lawyer, in fact, most diplomatic things, some of them die on the way because they realize that it's not good to announce it. If you announce it, you take it to your Congress for ratification. They die right there. If they cannot be announced, they will not be success. So I would think that diplomatically, this was a very big error. Legally, it was fundamentally wrong. So if there was anybody who can advise Chua Yaba, and I think our learned colleague is capable of doing that, he's an insider, tell them to be more cautious next time. Diplomacy is not done on presumptions. It's done on agreements. What have you agreed to give Biafra? What have you agreed to give the Spanish rebel group? What have they agreed to give you in return? No speculation that, well, yeah, one day they will let us drive our material path through there. That's a lie. They will not do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will call it there on this topic and move on to the next one that has to do with the passing of Fon. Fon Mukete, the paramount chief of the Bafos in Meme, and also this man lived well beyond 103 years. 103 years. He fought this struggle in his own way. He fought the struggle in his own way. However, his own way just wasn't good enough. For Ambazonians. I would like to ask all of you this question to give us your opinion. Chief Mukete, some time ago in 2018, I guess, was very vocal on the floor of the Senate, as you find it right here, in La République du Cameroun. In fact, let's pause for a moment and listen to him briefly, please.
Then you don't want me in the country. Then you don't want me. When I say it, I mean it. I'm crying. I think it's very wrong that we should continue like with this thing in this country. People, when you do it and you ignore because of language for the two English language divisions, what do you think you are making them to feel? What do you think? People that will not tell you honestly, then you regard them as inferior. Why should you not present the information to them in a way that they can understand? When the elections are to take place, we take the trouble to produce materials in languages which will be understood. We send things to the various people so that they can support us. That is
all right.
Why is it
gentlemen,
that we have to beg
I got the wrong
for
clip there, but that was
continuing the good work of the government? We should beg that it should be also in English. Why should we beg? It's not even in the interest of the government that this type of policy should go on. It is wrong. When we unified, the Tribune was produced in English and French. What is there? What's the difference? What is the trouble in our country? English Cameroon and French Cameroon. The only difference is the language. The only difference is the language is French and English. But somebody came later on and took his gun, his revolver, and shot at the English, killed the English. That was what I call a mortal shock.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the late Mfon V.E. Mukete, the paramount chief of the Bafos in Meme, speaking there. He passed a few days ago. And one of the questions that Ambazonian and asking, just as we did at the passing of Cardinal Toomey, is how do Ambazonians remember Infon V.E. Mokete being that he was one of these who saw this process and participated in this process that brought Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, together with French Cameroon. In the latter part of his years, he began questioning that arrangement. However, he never believed in a free Ambazonia. He thought a federal Cameroon would do. However, he never got it. He never got it. So let me start with you, Barrister Base. You are more older than any other person here, more, I guess, more knowledgeable than any other person here when it comes to these issues. How should Ambazonians remember Infon V.E. Bukete?
We should remember from V.E. Mokete as the oldest man who knew the problem, understood the problem, but never knew how to solve it. Whatever thing is stated on the floor of the Senate, I don't want to correct his ideas or his facts. He did not realize, because in 1954, he was not one of the parliamentarians who left Enugu. He was not one of them. If the Ambazonian problem, if the Ambazonian problem was the issue of a single person taking a position before on the floor of Parliament, we can all agree with would have delivered us. But I see he didn't know how to solve the problem. This is why. At his age, very old, very respected by both sides. Instead of thinking that he's quiet there, let me just say, you want to honor his federation. If Chimokete has said, look, in this Senate here, we have 20 people, senators from Northwest and Southwest. If we don't address this issue, 20 of us are moving out. And if they walked away on for 10 minutes, the Senate would have adjourned. Even though they have 80 over 100, they would have adjourned. It's the same thing that we call on the parliamentarians in the National Assembly. We made out that song. If only the 35 Anglophones in the National Assembly, then or now, to say, look, yeah, we're federalists. Let me say they want federation. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Paul Biyawu appoints you people. If you don't address this thing, 35 of us, because there are 15 from the Southwest, 20 from the Northwest, 25 of us are moving out of this National Assembly. The Assembly will adjourn and the matter will be addressed. So you can sit there and talk alone. You are not going to change anything. The people left in Enugu, because the 4 or 5 or 6 of them who were there, all moved out as a team. So we remember Chief Mokete as a man who knew the problem, but apparently didn't even know how to solve it. He did not understand, just like Cardinal Tume, he did not understand the enemy he was dealing with. A lot of people will not listen to your preaching. That has nothing to do with them. They listen to your action. And that's what they are killing us. If we're just talking, they will not do anything. But the day, again, back to the story, the day Ayaba announced that he was landing in Badi, they took up arms. Because he was no longer talking, it was action. So we remember him for that. And then, you remember in the earlier segment, I said, Cho Ayaba set up a camp in Kumba, where in Mokete plantations,
right,
that's his family plantation. We were prepared to bribe them to protect his plantation from the so-called Amber Boys. You know what the Amber Boys wanted? But it was better for him to give 10 million, 20 million to save his cocoa farm than to say, look, my children, I'm going to take this thing, tell my other junior brothers, my small children who are in the Senate now, they will all walk out until the government addresses the issue. He didn't do it. I never did it until he died. Sorry for him. May he rest in peace. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Barrister Tumasang, let me resort to you. How do you think Ambazonians should remember Infon V. Mokete? Is he a saint, or was he a saint, or a sinner?
To me, he was nothing more than a language shepherd who was trying to preserve English. That's the best I can think of him. He showed his anger when Tanta Abia came and spoke French to Ambazonian children. He is an escapist, a guy who knew the problem but did not address it. He has never tried to address the sovereignty issue of Ambazonia. So he's an escapist. He limits himself on language and a few things. But having said that, these people who made a fortune for themselves, he was in Camtel. He used the contact in Camtel since he was dealing with telecoms, went to South Africa, talked to MTA, brought them to Cameroon, and became a chairman and got some shares there, which are valued like $300 to $400 million. So he made a fortune from his contacts with La République to Cameroon. So these rich people, you can't really expect too much of them. They are too invested and too rich. It's just like a guy like Baba Dampolo. I've spoken to somebody who has spoken to Dampolo and really asked him what is happening. Dampolo told him that, my son, I don't want to become another Nanga. No matter what, I cannot stand against the government. They will bring me down. I cannot become another Nanga. So some of the rich people learn from Nanga. When Nanga started supporting SDF and the rest, that was the end of Nanga. So some of them, even if they believe that the thing is wrong, but because of their investment, they would rather toe the line with La Republic. So I can't blame him 100%, but there is not much history will remember him for. That's all I can say.
So, in other words, you are saying had it not been for his investments, you think he would have turned around and called the bluff of La République du Cameroun for the way they treated Ambazonians?
I believe so, because at least he even complained a bit about the English issue. So his hands were tied, to be honest. And he's a personal friend, I understand, of Bia for a long time. They used to play golf together. That's what I heard from some sources, that their friendship is not something of today. That him and Bia personally come a long way. So the guy he had to support also. He had a lot of things that were tying his hands from really showing his true colors. Whatever he believed as the true situation, he went into the grave with. So there's not much to remember about him, to be fair.
Okay. Barrister Timothy, anything to add before I open the phone lines?
Are you talking to Thomas or to Timothy?
Timothy.
Yes, I think Mr. Thomas has said it all. Because according to the chief, may so rest in peace, I didn't want to question what he was talking about. He said there's no difference other than the language. Is that what he thinks?
Yes.
That these people colonized us for 30, 40, 50 years, not teaching us any other thing. There's something wrong with his reasoning. So the language came with, so he complains that we're complaining about language. Sorry, sir. He did not, I said earlier, he did not understand the problem, or you understood it. I never knew how to solve it. And remember, this is a guy who was a minister in Nigeria. He has always been on top there. So we'll remember him as a fortune seeker. We'll remember him as a person who refused to make his political impact on the people they took to East Cameroon. We'll remember him as a failure politically. Full stop. Thank you, sir.
All right. We remember him. We remember Chief Infon Mukete as a political failure. Barrister Mbesa, those are your words, not mine. I give it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. At this moment, I will now open the line. Please, my panel, stay put in there if you still have so much more time. I know that people are anxious to call in to ask questions, maybe as pertain to the Biafra Alliance. So please stay put in there. Before you go ahead and call, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that your telephone, the volume of your phone is shut down. Make sure the volume of your phone is shut down before you go ahead to call. And I will really appreciate callers calling in from Ground Zero. I want to hear from you. From Ground Zero. You have the phone number right there on your screen. But of course, Diaspora, you are free to call. But I would love to hear, especially from Ground Zero, what you think about these issues. So the phone number is there on your screen. Before you call, make sure that the volume of your set is turned down. Make sure the volume of your set is turned down before you call. Let me get the first caller here. All right. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Finland.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
Yeah, thank you very much for a very brilliant show this evening. I want to appreciate you and I appreciate your panelists for their brave contributions. I would like to comment a little bit on the issue of Biafra. First of all, I would like to say I have listened to the analysis of your panelists, and there are some things, some of them have said, which I do not really agree with them. On the issue of an alliance with the Biafra, there are many questions that people have to ask before going into conclusions. I would like to say an alliance is something that has potential consequences, not only on Ambazonia and Biafra, but internationally, because the international community is watching the Gulf of Guinea. They know everything that's going on. There are people with interest in that area, and they want to protect their interests and all of that. So if, like Barrister Thomason said, that the agreement had been reached already last year, so what do they want the people of Ambazonia to really, what impression are they giving to the people of Ambazonia? Because alliance between countries are things that the people, there is supposed to be a due consultation at the grassroots level. But we don't know what's going on, just like the oil deal that came in 2 years ago. Ayaba left from Norway and went to London to sign an oil deal alone on behalf of 8 million people. Today he left again and signed another deal with the Biafrans without the knowledge of not even a single other leader in this revolution. So what impression are they giving to Ambazonians? Is this the kind of people who are supposed to lead our people? Because he has already defined who he is. If we even get the independence today, we can never trust him with leadership. If he can go to Nigeria and signing alliances without the knowledge of Ambazonians, it has consequences. And for those who are backing him today, even after we get the independence that we are fighting for, when the Biafrans will come for you to fulfill the promises you made to them and you can't, then you should be ready to bear the consequences. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Barrister Chumasan, he goes to London and tries signing an oil deal, no consultations. He goes to Nigeria, November, work into a deal with Biafra, no consultations. What if he cannot meet up with whatever commitment he has given the other side?
Chris, I've heard about this London deal. London deal is a non-issue. Before the London deal came, Ayaba and Afanka, they had signed a deal with Kilimanjaro, where an honorarium was given to Ambazonia to help us. They gave us money. Kilimanjaro, where the contingent right that if we become independent, they would now be the first right of refusal for our resources. So that deal was there. The London deal or scam is nothing because we had a real existing deal that had happened. I cannot talk much in court because the part of it almost went to court and we had to deal with the Canadian government and almost taking them to arbitration. I was brought in like one of the lawyers for the thing for one of the parties, so I cannot talk on that.
How about the deal, the alliance with the Basque movement? No,
Chris, you're making an issue about the alliance and Basque movement that did not produce any result. Basque collapsed together with all its alliances. It's not that Yabadat collapsed, Basque collapsed. Camto is finished with his alliance. So how do you expect Camto to be finished and his alliance to be alive?
All right, let's get more callers in here. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
From Ground Zero, precisely Bamenda.
Are you watching on television or on computer?
Television.
Wonderful. How is the quality there on television?
Good, actually very good.
Thank you. All right. What is in your mind, sir?
Let me first of all greet the barristers who are in the studio there with you. And my question will be directed to Barrister Tumacha. And this is the question. Barrister Tumasang, I think if we are up to this stage, started as far back as 1954, when the maltreatment of the indigenous people of Biafra, when the Nigerians, they call them the Ndeibo. Ndeibo.
Yes.
Now known as the indigenous people of Biafra. Now, the maltreatment they had to our people, our ancestors who are all of late, led Dr. Endele to get his people out of the Enugu House of Assembly to start the march of independence of the Southern Cameroon by creating our own state in Buya. And since then, some of the things that provoked the situation, and then there was an alliance kind of elections in Nigeria where the Southern Cameroonians who were in Enugu had an alliance with the party of Nnamdi Azikiwe and pushed him up to where he became almost the first president of Nigeria. And since they never treated Southern Cameroonians very well, they left that particular Enugu House of Assembly, came and started with our restoration, and from that day, to my own level of education, as I can say that, now, after all those things, Barrister Tumusang, don't you see that the attitude of Dr. Ayabacho and intellectual dishonesty to his ancestors, who got a group of people who maltreated Southern Cameroon and got us out of the place, and the wounds are still within the Biafrans. They takes us back. What does he mean by that? How can he explain that to the people, that the attitude of Ayabacho was that very normal of him if he knew the history of this country, that our ancestors did all to get us out of that people because of their character. And we saw it when we grew up. Your parents will go to the market to buy something. Before you pay for the thing, they have already torn it off like a wrapper and throw on you and force you to get the things that push us out of the place. And that was what pushed us completely to find ourselves with La Republique du Cameroon. And then Ayabacho, was he taking himself back as an alliance to the hip-hop people, or was taking the whole of Ambazonia, or including your own self, Barrister Tumasang? Was Ayabacho at that alliance, including your own self there as an Ambazonia, or was you it individually to his own self? Or how do you see that? Was he doing a good thing against what his own ancestors did in 1954? Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Barrister Tumasang, please, 50 seconds to answer the question. So we got a lot of callers coming in.
In the signing of amnesty, we don't count. In the signing of amnesty, we don't count the debt. The fact that Igbo people were aggressive in marketing and the fact that we were not treated in the Enugu house, those historical facts are not there. But it doesn't mean that we cannot enter into an alliance with the Igbo people today. I don't see where that bitterness will carry it. It's a non-issue, to be honest. They had whatever they had in the past. The reality, we are looking for something to benefit us, to free ourselves. If we check with the Igbos and we can get something, even some logistics, fair enough, we get. If we don't get, we forget them and move on.
Barrister Timothy, let me get to Barrister B. He doesn't think it's a non-issue as you claim it to be.
No, it's not a non-issue, sir. I think my little colleague should know this. This discussion is aimed at two things. We're not just after Choya. We also want future leaders of today and tomorrow, to learn something from this. Where was Kilimanjaro deal with Apanga or whatever? We want them to know that you don't engage Ambazonia or the future of the whole country single-handedly. That is the lesson that should be taken home. Ayaba is only one of the several leaders. Anybody in future who wants to do a thing like that should desist from doing it without consultation with others. Simple. So this is a take-home lesson. It is not a non-issue. It is a very, very important issue because Ayaba was not signing as Ayaba. He was signing as a leader of a people. Hopefully, for him, who will become the president or the prime minister, whatever it is, in the future government. If it is exploitation of our minerals, you will give it to them. If he's selling cocoa or whatever thing, you will give it to the other party. It will not be his mother's farm. It will be our property. So again, It's an important issue that our leaders, those who call themselves leaders, they have to understand that they don't engage the present life of our people, the future of our generations to come, in deals without prior consultation. The oil deal was a big deal. It has become nothing because it was caught. If you have been giving $1 million,
Barrister, I watched the speech. Barrister, I watched the speech about consulted other leaders and he has kept them posted. He might not have consulted the interim government, but his statement in the speech, which I heard with my own ears and saw, he said all the other leaders in Ambazonia, he's kept them posted and he consulted them.
No,
he said
Barrister Martin, do you really believe that? Do you take it?
Sorry?
Come on. Ayaba would not as much as return a call from any leader in this movement. He would not as much as consult a leader to go to London. He would not as much as consult a leader to think of an alliance with the Bas movement, and you think he called some leader to before going to this Biafra thing? Please. Let's
Please, I can just say what he said.
Hello.
I can only quote what he said in his speech.
Hello.
That's where I limit myself. Whether true or false, I don't know. But he said it. He knew it was important, and he said it in the speech that he consulted. Or he kept the other leaders.
Next caller, Barrister Martin. Let's get the next caller here. Hello.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bamenda, Ground Zero.
Watching on television?
Yes, watching on television. I just want to make a comment which is not even in relation to the topic of discussion for today.
Okay.
A lot of people on Ground Zero are happy about the decision the interim government has taken to block or to shut down completely the Bamenda Bafusam highway. It is one of the most, I can say, one of the beautiful decisions the interim government has taken so far. So we wish it should be enforced.
Wonderful. So tell me that action was supposed to start today, being Monday. What are you hearing from those around there, from people? Was there any attempt at movement crossing that stretch of road into Bunda today? What are you hearing?
You know, today is Monday, the usual ghost town. So we are waiting to see how tomorrow Tuesday is going to look like.
Okay.
We are waiting to see how tomorrow Tuesday is going to look like. We just hope restoration forces should go into action to make sure the Bamenda Bafusam road is completely shut down. It is a very beautiful decision.
What are you hearing about
Pardon?
And what are you hearing about a lockdown of Ekok Manfe Road?
For close to 8 days.
Right.
The military of French Cameroon has been unable to open the road.
Okay.
For close to 8 days, the French Cameroon soldiers have been unable to open the road.
Wonderful. So I guess we can say we are taking over the land and we are owning it, right?
Secretary Chris, the decision concerning Bamenda Bafusam is going to take us to higher heights.
Okay.
We just wish the interim government implements this decision and practice it for 1 month, and then you will see what will be the outcome from French Cameroon.
Wonderful. Great. You know, I was also thinking that I really hope the boys in Meme and Fako can also lock down Kumba Boya for a number of days, if not weeks. Let us triangulate, because if you shut down Ekok Manfe, you shut down Kumba Manfe, you shut down Bamenda Bunda, you strangulate the economy of La République du Cameroon, because that is where the money is coming from. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Let me get to the next caller here. That is great news, ladies and gentlemen, from Ground Zero. Let's see who the next caller here is. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Can you turn down the volume of your television, please?
Yes, I would like to greet the area.
Turn down the volume of your television first.
Yes, I'm out of the place.
All right. Yes, go ahead. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Mezam.
Okay, good. And you are watching on ABC on television?
Yes, exactly. I'm watching on the ABC television right now.
All right, good. What do you have to contribute?
Yes, I have a serious thing to tell you. What I perceive is that perhaps, not perhaps, but Thomasan is a staunch Ayaba's remnant. The way I see, the way he is very, 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 very contradictory in his statement. If we are in need, yes, if we are in need of something, it is not to ask it from a criminal. This is unbelievable. You have taken time to reason him over and over. He is saying the same thing. He is not admitting the fact that Ayaba is a criminal. I'm in Mancon. I'm a Mancon man. Let me tell you, in Mancon, we don't want to hear about Ayaba. Ayaba, over the social media, has spoken clearly that he was going to cut off the heads of our phones around. So I think there are a lot of things that are piled against Ayaba, that anybody who is saying something in his favor is merely his remnant.
All right, hold on there, please hold on there for a second. I'm not dropping you, but I don't like you to put words into the mouth of Barrister Tumasang, and I like to ask him, Barrister Tumasang, are you just supporting this Biafra thing, or you are actually a supporter of Cho Ayaba, in spite of all what you are hearing from the population?
I'm not a supporter of Cho Ayaba. Me, I believe that we can try and talk to Kano and see whether we can get something from him. That's all. Why are people have been told I'm a supporter of the sector, I'm a PT lawyer, I'm a supporter of Ayaba. I go to anywhere I see something good for the struggle. They just mentioned the closure of this road. Me, I will support you. Let the road pass through our territory, help us so that the economy can go through. If I start supporting this road now, write about it, I'll be condemned by the other guys also.
But you know,
I don't want to be that
you know that there is a problem when you have your legs everywhere, whether it be with Sisiko, with Joe Ayaba. I remember you and your group drafted, was it 40,000 for the interim government? I don't know whether the money came in, but essentially the people are saying it's like you have your legs everywhere and nobody knows where you belong.
Chris, to be honest, I'm doing it consciously. I don't want to be tagged with one group because this issue is about Ambazonia, not the group. So if this interim government doing something nice, I will jump in with them. If Ayaba come with this policy and realize that maybe Kano can give us something because our greatest problem logistics, let's go and listen to him. The other sins for Ayaba, which they are claiming, have you seen me defending it? I don't know those stories. I don't want to get into them.
All right.
I'm not a member of Ayaba's group. I'm not a member of Ayaba's group.
All right. Thank you. That is clear enough. Let's get back to the caller. Please, 50 seconds. Finish your thoughts, sir.
Yes, as I was saying, look, we have our problem, which is quite a different problem of that of the Biafra. I think anybody who says anything linked to the Biafra is merely making us to plunge into a mess internationally, because the international community consider the Biafrans as terrorists, secessionists. They are not like us. We have our problem, and Nigerian government knows it, that we are an independent country from 1954 to 1961, and this is well stated. So if anybody is saying anything in favor of Ucho Ayaba, I don't know who is he representing at that level of the Biafra issue. Who is he presenting? Who has he consulted, as a caller said rightly a couple of minutes before I took over? Who did he consult on ground zero?
All right.
He is linked with who? Look, it is a fabulous error, a monumental error Ayaba is doing. I think Ayaba and the Barrister Thomasan, the both of them are academicians that have failed in their ways of doing things categorically. We on ground zero, we know that Ayaba is nobody for us.
All right. That is your opinion. Thank you for the call. Okay, let's see. The lines are ringing, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see where this caller is coming from. Hello.
Hey, Secretary Chris.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Maryland, sir.
Okay. What is your contribution?
I wish to appreciate you and to thank the panelists, but I have a special worry for Barrister Tumaze. I want him to be honest to the Ambazonian people and then tell us whether if the alliance between ADF and Biafra is maybe it has some potential that can help us. Is it the place of Ayaba to take this move to the public? Barrister Tumaze has mentioned some benefit that we can have, yes, but Barrister should be honest to the Ambazonian people. Is it move good for public consumption? Let him tell us that my people, he should be honest for a while and know the type of devastating effect this may have on our cause. He should be very honest. Thank you, Senator Chris.
Thank you for the call, sir. Barrister Tumaze, I think that is a legitimate question. Even if this deal is good, was it good to take it to the public?
Secretary Chris, in terms of this deal, it would have been better if the thing was done under the table quietly. But the deal is now in public. Let's not be crying over spilled milk. There were two options. You could have done this deal and just hide it. But that was not the situation. The deal is in the public. So what? Do we disown the deal because it has gone public? Or what is the effect of this deal? I've made a statement which people are drawing by the side. The greatest thing that could affect Ambazonia is the guy who goes to Nigeria and claim 3 states, claim more than 15 million people, and wanting to break Nigeria, take them to come and join the Southern Cameroon to make United Nations, UNO, Republic of Cameroon. That is the biggest problem, not Ayabacho. This thing is a non-issue, I keep repeating. That is the person who's worrying Nigeria. Nigeria has raided and put people in prison because of that. Nigeria has not put anybody in prison because of this Kano deal. And all this story that Kano is an international terrorist and criminal, me, I don't know that. Nigeria is calling him a terrorist. La Republic is not calling us a terrorist also. What is the big deal here? Sorry, you are muted. You are muted.
Thank you. You listen to all the callers who have called in, and they are very, very concerned about your line of thought. Don't you think that you are wrong in supporting that?
Secretary, let me just say something.
Okay, all right, sir.
This is an advice to ourselves, specifically Mr. Tumasang, myself, and other lawyers. We are lawyers because we can stand up to the truth. We cannot be everywhere. And let me take it back to things we said a few minutes ago. Consultation with other groups. We should be able to tell our people wherever we belong that certain principles have to be followed. Let me just give an example. I'm very sure Tumasang knows, and he has been writing about it. He knows this thing they call the Swiss talks. They didn't just fall from heaven. No. The Swiss talk was the initiative of the interim government. But when the green light was shown, the interim government did not go solo. They invited every other group and told them, this is what we have found. Can we all join hands and do it? That's how it works. So Ayaba was invited, Akwanga, they all came. If they are not there, if they are not in the act, they moved out by themselves. So we should be able to tell our people, no single group, who call themselves groups now, owns Ambazonia. But even if there was to be a group that should be ignored, Tamasang knows you cannot ignore the interim government in the present dispensation of Ambazonia. And I can assure you from within, the interim government was never consulted about this is Biafra deal. Neither was the Bank.
I'm supporting what you are saying. I'm supporting you. I believe that there should be consultation. I'm not against consultation.
All right.
I believe there should be consultation. I'm not against that.
We should inform our people. We should inform the group to which we belong. That's the advice. I belong to the interim government. And when everything came up like that, like the Swiss talk, I said, look,
No,
gentlemen,
that is
let's
not.
get the other goes together.
No, you, Metro, you've choose the position that you want to be there. Me, I've been offered positions in different things which I didn't take. I want to be in civil society. There are some people who are just senior civil society people who comment on topical issues, give their advice they want. If I wanted to be in interim government, Edwin, when they were forming the government in Nigeria, he phoned me more than 5 times to go to Nigeria and get the position. That is, they wanted to promote me under Republic of Ambazonia. I refused to go to Nigeria. I told him I don't want a position. So I've intentionally refused positions because I want to be independent civil society member. There are many people like that. I'm not the only one.
All right,
please. For the good of
please.
Ambazonia, fighting for it, but they don't want to be in any unit. I don't know whether you people cannot understand that.
All right.
I'm civil society.
All right, Barrister Tumasang, please, let's get to the callers. It's their turn. Let's make sure we can get as many diverse views as possible. Hello.
Yes, good evening, sir. This is Dr. Awa. I'm calling from Germany.
I'm sorry, again, where are you calling from?
From Germany.
Okay, and what is your contribution, sir?
Yes, it's concerning the initiative taken by the AGOVC. I think I know you very well, Secretary Chris. I listen to your rhetoric. I'm very surprised that you don't like that initiative. The thing is, I hear you people say you don't want to annoy your Fulani brothers, you don't want to annoy your Hausa brothers, you don't want to annoy the international community. The question is, where are they? Where are all our steaks and granules coming from? All the food that we sell, where is it going to? They are our immediate neighbors. So what I think is...
But hold on there. Hold on, I'm not dropping you. Hold on, I won't drop you. But then, somebody would ask you, what do we get from or gain from a secessionist group? Not money, not weapons. What is the benefit?
The benefit is you people have to sit on the table and discuss about it and evaluate it. All of our sticks are coming from the Igbos. We buy them. They come from there.
We pay for it. Biafra is not giving it to us. We could as well buy them or get them anywhere else.
Yeah, but we have a common enemy and we are neighbors.
No, don't answer the question. Precisely what do we benefit from Biafra?
We benefit collaboration. We benefit from exchange of soldiers.
How?
We benefit exchange of food. You people were in Brazil. What have you achieved there?
No, we didn't sign a deal with Brazil. We didn't come and we didn't do any world press conference with Brazil. Neither did we sign a deal. So the question is, forget about Nigeria.
The thing is, I think you people should not be so critical with this. You people.
No, we are looking at the facts. We are looking at the facts. You sign alliances with people who can help you, but in this situation, how do we get help?
Have you seen a paper signed, Secretary Chris? Have you seen any paper signed?
It has been announced on the World Press Conference.
I'm surprised you don't want to annoy your Fulani brothers, your Hausa brothers.
No. That is not the point. We are fighting Fulanis in northern Nigeria in Nwa already.
The thing is, see, Secretary Chris, I think that we need our neighbors. We have a common enemy, and
you are correct, comrade. You are correct. We need our neighbors, but not a secessionist faction. In the country that is. We need Nigeria. We don't need Biafra. That is the point.
Nigeria does not like you. They don't like you. They are not with you. They've abducted your people. They kill your people.
That is. I don't think that is a fact, because Nigeria could take our case to the AU, whatever shape they do. But we know that was impossible. But now, do you see that possibility?
The thing is that Nigeria is our enemy. They don't like us. They don't want to hear Ambazonia get independence. They have showed it in every way.
We could manage Nigeria, but with the inclusion of Biafra, you can imagine the military might, the diplomatic might, and the political might that Nigeria would unleash on us one way or other. Don't forget, we have hundreds of thousands of refugees in Nigeria who may now be termed terrorists just because they are Ambazonians.
Yeah, they also have refugees in other countries, in northern Cameroon, in La Republic of Cameroon, even in our territory. Nigerian refugees are there. The thing is that the secretaries, we need our neighbors, we need collaboration, and they are the only neighbors that we have that we can collaborate with. We don't have as a second choice. La Republique is a back neighbor.
Well,
and
thank you.
Nigeria is not our friend.
Thank
so,
you.
Please, can I help you?
Yes, Secretary,
can I help that caller?
Should think about this, sit down, think about it, ponder and see what people can get from such an alliance. Don't just throw it away in the dustbin from the beginning.
Let me try to help you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. I appreciate your point. However, I can assure you that nothing is coming out of this going by what we know. Barrister Ambassador, please go on.
I wanted the caller to know that, yes, Nigeria has done some things wrong to us. But we need Nigeria, not Biafra. These are the reasons. Presently, thousands of our refugees are in Nigeria, not in Biafra. Because they're in Nigeria, they are feeding in the Nigerian hands. The Nigerian federal government is taking care of them directly or indirectly. That is a fact. We need Nigeria. Point number 2. I had earlier said in 2002, the federal government of Nigeria signed a consent judgment as a government to sponsor our case through all international communities. They have not yet done it, but it's a consent judgment. If it doesn't bind this government today, it will bind the next one, the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we need Nigeria, not a renegade, unborn, speculative state called Biafra. Because as of now, nobody has convinced me what we'll get out of them. I wonder if the caller understands what we're talking about. If he does, that's what we need Nigeria for. You are muted.
Sorry, you and my microphone was muted. Start all over again, please.
Yes, I want to extend my greetings to all of you in the studio for what you are doing to educate our people. Concerning this issue of Kano all over the place is saying that Biafra needs a separate state because the boundary, or what is called Nigeria, was something that was crafted by the colonialists. So that they don't want to live within the framework of Nigeria because those boundaries were crafted by the colonialists. So Ayaba, in an audio, also said that he is joining forces with, he's joining alliance with Kanu because then he doesn't want to live in boundaries dictated to him by the colonialists. So I want to ask Ayaba, which boundary? So does it mean that he doesn't want to recognize the Matazem and the Mongol boundary that was dictated upon us by the colonialists, because that is where we are fighting to send La Republic out of it? So if Ayaba says that he doesn't want to respect the colonial boundaries, it means that he is fighting for one Cameroon. And again, how is Ayaba going to take resources from Biafra as Tumasang is supporting? Biafra doesn't control the borders. How are they going to pass with those weapons? And again, the last thing I want to ask, Tumasang said that Ayaba is not fighting with La Republic. Ayaba came on live video and told us that the killers, those who killed Florence Ayapo, were in his keeping. And later on, we heard that those guys were tried in La Republic military court and they were killed. So Ayaba did not even explain to us if La Republic attacked his camp or under what conditions did he hand those guys to La Republic. Thank you. And then one last thing, Secretary. Tumasang is saying that Ayaba should bring weapons. Okay, how is Tumasang going to use weapons to fight? Because he told us on ABC TV that he advised Ayuktabe to ceasefire, or if La Republic promised to go to 1972 Federation. So is he looking for weapons to fight for 1972 Federation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the call. I Unfortunately, Cho Ayawa is not here to answer some of the inquisitions you made on him. But I'll allow Comrade Martin to take 50 seconds, please, if you have anything to say about the question directed to you.
To be honest, the things are so many, I don't even know when to start. Let me deal with the question from 1972. Chris, as you are, I just wanted to talk to you and you disappeared. Chris, as you are sitting there, if they ask you a simple question, say what sin de la République du Cameroun commit in 1961, what can you answer? Can somebody tell me their sin in 1961? Because for me, I'm seeing their sins from 1972 period and after 1961. 1961, the plebiscite was not organized by La République du Cameroun. UN endorsed the results of that plebiscite, but not La République du Cameroun. UN ordered a conference for them to come and sit there at Article 5 or whatever, take steps to follow. Britain refused to come. UN was not coming. Was it the fault of La République du Cameroun? So most of the failures in 1962, 1961, I cannot pin it on La République du Cameroun. 1961 failed for so many factors. But La République du Cameroun had its own agenda of annexation and colonization, started implementing and putting the groundwork after 1961. Then they made their first big move in 1972. So when we talk about annexation and colonization of Southern Cameroon, it was in 1972 they started. They finally consummated it in 1984 using Restoration Law 84-1. So all this story about 1961,
Comrade,
I'm asked a simple question. What was La République
Comrade, before 1972, La République had overthrown Jua.
No, Chris, I'm saying that after 1961, then they started putting the groundwork to annex and colonize us. Their first concrete move came in 1972 when they then dissolved the government and the rest. So when everybody talking 1961, what did La République do wrong in 1961? It's easy to sit and talk. When you sit on that table, they say, show me what La République. I can understand what Britain did, you and everybody at 1961, what did La République do? Because I've never seen anybody to show me the big fall of La République in 1961. If you don't want me to talk about 1972 or after 1961, but I don't see the fault I'm holding La République on 1961.
All right, but
yes, things didn't go well, but it's not of La République's fault.
Bastambi, sir, you have an advocate here for La République du Cameroun in the Barista Tumasan.
No, I'm not advocating for La République du Cameroun. I'm saying that
different Ambazonia, Bastambi, sir.
1972. We cannot limit ourselves to 1961.
Let your colleague listen to me. Listen to me carefully, and I want all listeners to listen to what I'm saying. You have raised the issue of 1961. What did La République do? These are the answers. The February 11th plebiscite was not a joining, was an intent to join. It was followed by Resolution 1608, which resolution La République voted against. They voted no. So legally,
yes, they had the right
of business. And listen to me, yes. You have asked what they did. Okay. They voted against it, which was a signal they didn't want the union. But nonetheless,
yes,
the resolution passed. It passed with subsection 5, which stipulated mandatorily before October 1st, the three parties, there was no senior party to the three. La République du Cameroun, their government of Southern Cameroon, and Great Britain must meet and agree on the terms by which they will implement the intended goals. They never met. It should have ended there. But then, in July, what happened? La République purported to call a conference in Fumba. Did they invite Great Britain? No. Great Britain was not there. But what did they do in Fumba? They came with a draft constitution. Was that right? No, sir. Fumba did not adopt it anyway. What did they do? They took it back, took it to the assembly, which was an amended constitution of the assembly, adopted it in their own assembly, and brought it and gave it to Funcha. Remember, Southern Cameroon had a National Assembly. They didn't do that. Was that right? No. What did they do again? September came, October came, they brought their military, occupied the place. This was 1961, not 1972, sir. So if you don't see these machinations,
let him finish. Let him finish.
If you don't see this chronological analysis of the events as orchestrated by the Republic, faultily, then there's something wrong. Let me assume for a moment. Suppose Britain, La République du Cameroon, and the government of Southern Cameroon had met actually in a conference, and they could not agree because they were supposed to meet and agree. If they had met and they could not agree, what would have happened? They would have gone back to the United Nations and say, we cannot agree. That would have been the end of the projected intentional future unification in October 1st. You must agree before a certain date. See, was the Republic right to bring their constitution and impose it? They knew that we were the minority. So answer, sir. You said you wanted to answer. You're free.
All right. Very briefly, Barrister Martin, very briefly, time is quite against us here.
I still repeat that the falls of 1961, I personally cannot put it on the table of La République du Cameroon. It's the table of Britain. You had a colony or you were a trustee. You go and call Ahito to hand in power. You've not had the conference to have an agreement to finalize the terms of the agreement. You call somebody and you lower the Union Jack. You take the La République flag and then you hand over, put your people in a ship and your container and left. The guy takes the territory, he can do as he wants with that territory at that point in time. The fault is the guy who was supposed to be the trustee who take care of the territory. I cannot waste my time blaming Ahidjo. Britain is the one that handed the territory without all the things being okay.
All right. I think you will make a very good advocate for La République du Cameroon. Let's get to the last caller here. Oh, hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. Give me 1 second here. All right. Hello.
Is that better?
That is better. Yes. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Philadelphia, Secretary Chris.
Okay. And what is your question, sir?
Yes, I have another question for Comrade Tumasang. Given the fact that he stated clearly that the supposed benefit from Ayabacho's encounter with Nnamdi Kanu was for him to get resources. Now, given the track record of Ayabacho using his own weapons against the Ambazonian restoration fighters and even civilians, what if Ayabacho's intention is to use any resources acquired from the Biafrans against the Ambazonian restoration fighters, knowing fully well that he, being very unpopular, as demonstrated by the number of persons that have called in here today, more than 90% are against that idea, that he, Ayabacho, knows very well that he cannot emerge as a leader except by military might. That his only option, therefore, is to use the military. And that is the reason why he prefers to go solo into these deals to get resources, because his intention is not to fight against La République du Cameroon, but to dominate the fight and to emerge as the only person standing using those weapons. That is my first question. Secondly, does Barrister Tumasang believe in democracy? Because if he believes in democracy, it is a game of numbers where the person with the greatest numbers should emerge as a winner. Again, as demonstrated by the number of calls here, it is clear that a vast majority of Ambazonians are against Ayabacho and his moves. Why then should he continue to advocate for this option when a vast majority of Ambazonians are against it? Doesn't he believe in democracy? And if he does, then why is he insisting on this? As demonstrated here, it is very clear. So I would like for him to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Barrister Tumasang, please, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay,
please.
let's just try to wrap it fast. First of all, my interest in this thing is to see whether we can get something from Kano. If we happen to get something from Kano, how will they use it internally? It's none of my business. I'm not getting into that. If Kano should give some weapons to Ayaba today and how he uses it, I'm not a member of Ayaba's group. I don't control him if the weapons are in his hands. So that is the first question. The second question of majority of people who are phoning, it's a bias sample. I don't know whether the caller understands sampling. You cannot take the people who are phoning ABC and use it as a sample to see how Ambazonia thinks. If you go to their own television also, the people who phone will just talk. So the sample, it's not a question, to be honest. I can't hear. You are muted.
I'm sorry, thank you. You know that we are not censoring calls here at ABC. We take them in the order in which they come in. They're coming in from all over the place. And if 5 people call and they say you are wrong, I think you should be humble enough to see that there's something wrong in your position, but that's for another day. Let's take this last caller here from Ghana.
If the 5 people are within a bias sample, if the 5 people are within a sample that are already within a group, other people, they don't even come to this television. How would they?
Barrister Martin, hold on, play. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kumba.
Okay, how was Ghost Town in Kumba today?
No, the Ghost Town, we enjoy it because there was no movement here in Kumba.
Wonderful, great to hear that. What is your contribution, sir?
My contribution is to Barrister Tumasang, who is claiming that Mr. Cho Ayaba is correct, which is not good, because what I have to say is that if you see a bird of the same feather, they flock together.
We lost that caller. I don't know what happened. Maybe there's a network issue. But again, Barrister Martin, you see the indictment that you are receiving here from the callers. Something tells them that something is not right with your line of reasoning. But unfortunately, I won't allow for any more comment because of time issues. Let me get this very caller for the day. Hello.
Hello, Chris. How you doing?
I am doing excellent. So may I know where you are calling from, please?
This is Honest calling from Maryland.
Okay. Thank you for the call. What is your contribution?
Yeah, my contribution is that you guys are forgetting a lot of things and only talking about when it concerns something outside.
Okay.
You know, these guys went first to Boy, and the La Republic criminals they followed.
Who are you referring to?
I'm talking about the ADF of Ayaba.
Okay.
Yes, they went to Boy and they pretend to be them. Meanwhile, the criminals, La Republic elements, are coming to reinforce them to do some damage and kill Chacha. They did that all over in the northern region, and it's the same thing that he has done here. And then the next day, the Republic was coming up with a combined diplomatic session there in Yaoundé. It's just the same thing. So I think we should just find a way and get this guy out of our way and see how we can go ahead and and keep going. Thank you, Chris, for answering the other guy who said that you are rhetoric. I was not happy when he said that you are rhetoric. After your monologue, that's just a terrible guy. He's just the type of one like Tumasang himself. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you for the call, and that will be the last caller of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this has been very, very interesting. I will give Barrister Mbisa the last word. You've been quiet for a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, participants, I've been very, very privileged to be here. We've tried to make the points that we could make, hoping that we'll all benefit from the points that we've made. My goal as an elder one, as a lawyer too, is for people to learn from their mistakes. This revolution is, we believe, is God ordained, but it's being executed by human beings. And because they are human, they will make mistakes. But we must admit that we can make mistakes. If we don't admit that we can make mistakes, there's no need pointing mistakes to them. So I hope and believe this discussion has led to something that we can get for the future of the struggle. Yes, it has been centered on the Biafra issue, but by extension, it can go to other fields. Again, as a lawyer, I take the privilege of giving my clients the best advice, notwithstanding their own personal positions. Again, back on this issue, I would repeat, I said before, most diplomacy is done behind the screen, 99% of it. And you don't come public until there's reason to do that. This one was not like that. We were here wasting 3-4 hours because it came public. It was wrong. Whatever was the intention, it was wrong. We must admit that. Hoping that tomorrow we will not repeat the same errors. Again, thank you, Chris. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, participants. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Barrister Martin, Barrister Tim Mbisa. I look forward to having you here, back here one of these days. You have a great evening, sirs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Let me add this and say this, that despite all of this, whether it was good or not good, I want to assure all of you that this interim government has a handle over this struggle. Alliance or no alliance, the interim government has a handle on the struggle. There is just no way anybody can broker an effective deal for this struggle without engaging the interim government. And so, if somebody would go out there and enter into alliances, enter into some deals and think that he can make it happen, it will not happen. Just the same as a lot of people in Cameroon cannot think they can go out there and broker a deal with any group out there. They know it will not work without the consent of this interim government. So that's why I like all of you to rest assured, this Biafra thing doesn't only make no sense. It is going nowhere. It is empty because your interim government holds the knife and holds the yam. Also, I will leave you with that for today. I believe you will have a great night today. God bless you all. And I look forward to seeing you maybe sometime down in the week. See you in a few hours.
Has your bank turned you down for a business loan? Even if you have low, bad, or no credit, our network of lenders are willing to grant you a business loan. It is guaranteed. Money to start a new business, increase your business capital, or refinance a current business. Funding Capital Grid is your answer. We've got you when your bank rejects you. We will offer you from $10,000 to $100 million in secured and unsecured loans. We will clean your credit within the shortest possible time. We also finance all property types: multifamily, office, retail, owner-occupied, self-storage, hotels, industrial, and medical. We will also finance equipment like tow trucks, office furniture, dump trucks, cargo trucks, and Caterpillars. Contact us